Fox Sports.
Last year on August 8th, the Royals and Red Sox had combined for only 92 wins. This year, they have totaled 128. The Big Papi-led Sox have won 12 of 19 since the All-Star break to reclaim the top spot in the American East. But the Royals have been even hotter with baseball's best bullpen and defense, spearheading a stretch of 15 wins in 19 games. It's two teams with postseason on their minds, Royals and Red Sox, next. Welcome to Kauffman Stadium for Game 1 of a 4-game series between the Boston Red Sox and the Kansas City Royals. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physioc. We will see two of the most improved teams in baseball. The Royals last year finished 18 games under 500. Currently, they are 5 over. And Boston last year finished 24 games under 500. Right now, they are 14 over. And you see their records at the end of last year. Boston lost 93. The Royals lost 90. The one clear difference is pitching. The ERA of Boston, 3.84. The Royals, number 1 in the American League at 3.56. Joining me now, of course, is Rex Hudler. And, Rex, it's not only pitching, but isn't there a certain toughness that both of these teams have?
Oh, you got that right, Fizz. You have to be mentally strong to play this game. And whether you're young and inexperienced or you're an experienced veteran, you have to find team chemistry. And for the Red Sox, they changed managers, and they brought in a few extra guys to go along with some of their veterans already. Grizzled vets like Pedroia, like Big Papi. These guys already are mainstays and world champions. When you add veteran players to this, they have the ability to police themselves in the clubhouse. They have a bit of confidence going. That home run against the Royals, that united the city of Boston after the tragedy of the bombing. This team's got it going on, but then when you talk about Kansas City, they're now believing they're young players. Now, they added a few salty veterans and when you got to have them, but now the Royals believe they can contend. Bring it! Bruce Chen, get it to the pin.
They must take on the 83 Bayou of Bruce Chen, he of the 1.5 ERA in his 4 starts. Can Bruce baffle Boston? Find out next. Boston 70 wins, 46 losses. And right now it's time to take a look at our AT&T UVerse replay. We go back to April 15th. The city of Boston suffered a terrorist attack during the Boston Marathon that took the lives of 3 people and left 170 injured. Friday's game was canceled with the Royals, but the 2 teams played an emotional contest on Saturday with the Red Sox. Even Bruce Chen was wearing the Be Strong. Every team member did, and David Ortiz, he gave a stirring speech. Boston strong, wicked strong. Neil Diamond was there to sing Sweet Caroline, and the entire nation honored a suffering city. The Red Sox won 4-3 on Daniel Nava's 3-run home run. David Ortiz tonight making fans at the K. And Bruce Chen, he knows his job. Get that lead to the bullpen because they have been the American League's best. 2.80. Red Sox and Royals. First pitch is now. Brought to you by Missouri Lottery. Play the Powerball and Mega Millions Scratchers game to win $100,000 or more. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealer, the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. This game is brought to you in high definition by Time Warner Cable, the official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. We welcome you to Kauffman Stadium, where the Royals have won 5 of their last 6 games. This is the lineup they will face from the Boston Red Sox. Jacoby Ellsbury will lead things off, then Victorino and Pedroia. All 3 have been hot. Johnny Gomes will clean things up, followed by Stephen Drew, Mike Napoli, Nava Saltalamacchia, and rookie Brock Holt. On the hill for KC will be 36-year-old Bruce Chen making his 5th start. The first 4 have been quality, Rex.
Yes, and he is a magic man. Now, he's not going to take Irvin Santana's nickname Magic, but when I say that, he's got all kinds of different pitches. We love Bruce. He is 2-0 with a 2.87 ERA at home this season with 7 walks, 26 strikeouts without a dominating fastball. That's right, because he's smart. He dissects that plate. He's got different pitches, changes speeds on his fastball, curveball, changeup, slider, cutter. He's got 4-seamer, 2-seamer, everything, Fizz. But the kitchen sink he'll throw at you.
And Joe Goldberg has that.
I guess so, Fizz. And, May 30th this year, that was the date George Brett took over. May 30th in 2010 was really a date that Bruce Chen started and became a fixture in the rotation for the Royals, because it was that day back at Fenway Park in that season that Gil Mesh, who was hurt, was replaced by Bruce Chen. Since then, most wins in the organization, most starts, most innings pitched, and he is 5th already on the all-time wins list by a lefty behind Split, Gura, Liebrand, and Black. This guy has been so huge for the Royals. Fizz?
Thank you, Joel. And Kansas City comes in at 58 and 53, third in the Central, 8.5 games back of Detroit, but only 5 games back of the wild card lead.
If I sound like I'm a little excited, it's because I am, Fizz. Bruce.
And that's a surprise.
Well, you know what? Bruce is fun to watch. If he can pitch like he can pitch with all of those offerings he has, it's going to be fun to watch.
Well, the first 3 hitters are really good. All 3 with very good speed. And here's a base hit by Ellsbury, who leads the American League in stolen bases with 40.
Yeah, so they'll be off and running. Bruce has a couple of different looks for him over there at first base. But defending behind Bruce Chen is a wonderful defense we like talking about every night. But the second baseman over there, that's right, he's had starts in 14 of the Royals' last 19 games since the break. He's been solid, energetic, making plays. May not have the range that Johnson has, Elliot Johnson, but he makes the plays when they're right at him, and he's got some special plays in him too. He's got great hands, and he's bringing a lot of energy in that infield.
And how about the weather on August 8th? 73 degrees. This is like October. Fantastic. Shane Victorino, the batter. Red Sox have won 2 straight and 7 of 10. They beat Houston yesterday 7-5. Ellsbury with 40 steals. He's only been caught 3 times, and the Royals, of course, do not have their top catcher Salvador Perez out until at least Sunday on the 7-day concussion list.
Yeah, but he's throwing to Brett Hayes, who does a very nice job signal calling in back of the plate, and he's an adequate thrower, so let's wait and see. Maybe Ellsbury will challenge him. I'm sure he will. Nice long 4-game series.
Bruce does have a good move, and that time as he was beginning his move home, Ellsbury was going back towards first base, so he did not read it well.
Well, obviously the scouting reports that they have on Bruce tells those runners he's got a pretty good move. He's got 2 or 3 different looks he'll show you. He's a veteran.
And he is not reluctant to go over and over to first base.
And I'll tell you what's important too is home plate umpire Jerry Lane in his 25th year calling balls and strikes. Bruce doesn't overpower you, so depends on how Jerry's calling the corners.
They've got him picked off. Hosmer's throw. Got him.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So what happens when you're not really sure of a guy's move, you'll go on first movement. And that's what they told him. Go on first movement. The minute Bruce picked up his foot, that's when he takes off. So Bruce is coming over, and it's an easy out. All Hosmer's got to do is keep the ball away from the back of the runner. Nice throw to Escobar.
Victorino slams it down the left field side, and Shane has really been hot. 16 hits in his last 39 at bats, 11 runs scored in 9 games.
Well, he's one of those veterans that they brought in. Okay, mentioned him in the open. Veteran, he's a winner.
And Rex, that is a similarity between the Royals and the Red Sox. Dayton Moore went out and brought in veterans: Shields, Davis, Tejada. The Red Sox said so long to a few guys as Justin Maxwell will take care of Shane Victorino. I mean, they are having greater success despite unloading Gonzalez, Crawford, Beckett, Euclid, Marlon Byrd. And they brought in guys who had won before, who also would call you out if you didn't run hard and hustle.
Well, they got rid of the biggest problem they had, and that was the manager. so they're a lot better.
Were his initials Bobby Valentine?
Yeah. So you said it, not me. So the Royals, they have their hands full, but the Red Sox have a ton of respect coming in here. Talking to both sides a little bit, especially the Boston Red Sox today a little bit there. They know what's going on here. The Royals are no secret. However, Boston has a 31-25 road record, and that leads the American League. These guys aren't easy on the road. Just second in Major League Baseball to the Dodgers.
Dustin Pedroia, so tough. He was rewarded with an 8-year contract right before the trade deadline. 29 years old, out of Sacramento. And he is one of those guys that they wanted to make sure who was the core of the team, because he leads the right way, plays the game the right way, and the numbers show it. 295 average coming in, 8 home runs, 68 RBIs. He was the 2008 American League Most Valuable Player.
That's just the first ball Bruce has thrown tonight.
He will upset your timing. You could see Dustin Pedroia, who moves his feet a lot anyway, was dancing around that batter's box, waiting and waiting for Chen's off speed to come in.
Pedroia 5 for 11 with 2 doubles and a homer in his career off Bruce.
Escobar. Nice job by Bruce Chen after the leadoff single by Ellsbury, but he picked him off and then got Victorino and Pedroia. And his Kansas City Royal team, even though Detroit is on fire, they have an 8.5 game lead going for their 12th straight win. They lead Cleveland 7-0 right now in the top of the 4th inning. Max Scherzer, the Missouri Tiger, trying to go 17-1. There's the American League wild card look with the Royals 5 games back, but plenty of time to go. And here's a look at Ned Yost's lineup. Kane, Hosmer, Butler, Gordon, Tejada, Maxwell, Moustakas, Hayes, and Escobar facing the lefty, 6'4", 29-year-old Jon Lester.
All right, Jon Lester, he's very good pitcher with hard stuff. A lot of hard stuff. Fastballs, curveballs, changeups, everything's coming at you. Not quite like Danny Duffy last night. However, he's got a great arm. 4-seamer. He'll go 94 with it. 2-seam sinker, curve, changeup, good stuff. He also cuts that ball into righties. Command that fastball, arm side, and that's what he tries to do. Keep it down. Doesn't he have a little delivery like Duffy even? Kind of looks similar.
Kane had 3 hits in that recent series against the Minnesota Twins, and he has hit in 18 of his last 21. Batting average at .258, 4 home runs and 43 driven in, and we've seen him lead off lately. He's also hitting 5th, 6th at times. 2 balls and 1 strike. Lester in his last game did not throw well. A 7-6 loss to Arizona. He received a no decision, but he gave up 6 runs in 4 1/3 innings. Kane hits it pretty well left field, and that will be over the head of Johnny Gomes, and Kane will have a leadoff double.
How about his 19th on the season? That cutter right there didn't get in enough on his hands. That's a way to look in there. Okay, that actually stayed up. That was a cutter that didn't cut. And that was the problem you just mentioned. How he gave up in only 4 1/3 innings against the Diamondbacks. He gave up all them runs. It's because he couldn't get the ball down. So maybe in this start he's going to keep the ball up. And if he does, he's in trouble. The Royals are hot.
Yet, here's the defense for the Red Sox.
Okay, we're going to highlight Brock Holt. 16th career start. Interesting. Okay, so he doesn't have a lot of experience. That's the 6 different third basemen they've used this year. Having some trouble over there? Drop a bunt on him. See if he can make that play.
Not this guy, though.
No, not this guy.
He's been hot. 350 average since the All-Star break. And a breaking ball is in there for strike 1. Eric has moved his average to 297 by hitting well over 300 the last 2 months of the season. Now he's down 0-2, and Lester will go for the strikeout because Eric at least wants to get a productive out early in this game, get Kane over to third where a fly ball or ground ball could score him.
Yeah, and that was that hack, even though it wasn't his pitch. But you can't ask Hosmer to be a situational hitter as great as he is. Go ahead and just look for something out over. With 2 strikes here, hey, just try to put the ball in play.
Lester has struck out 125 in 143 1/3 innings. Time was called by Eric because Lester kept staring back at Lorenzo Cain. Rex, I read his quote as he was talking about that previous game where he said, I was trying to go inside, I was trying to go outside, but every single one of my pitches was leaking out over the heart of the plate. So maybe he's trying to reclaim his release point.
That little breaking ball that he's throwing him there, that gives Hosmer a chance to turn on that ball and get Kane over to third base. But you're right. Hey, leaky faucet, sometimes it takes a while for the plumber to come and fix it. So hopefully it's still leaking. And leaking means elevation and cookies. And that's exactly what they're looking for. Punish him. Hosmer's got a 267 average with a runner in scoring position.
I've never heard it described that way.
He's also hitting 326 with 3 homers against lefties. Uh-oh.
He chases that one well out of the strike zone, did he?
Just got a piece of it.
He just did. I did not think he touched it.
Ooh, just a tad.
Barely.
But Jerry Lane's on it.
So if you're Lester, do you think you're going back there?
Or he might try to surprise him and give him a jam sandwich. But regardless, Hosmer's got another strike left.
Try to go away with the fastball at 95. He has options when he was with the 0-2 count.
6'2", 220. He's well put together as Lester. And he's strong, and he's going to give you a lot of hard stuff. And occasional soft stuff.
His previous 3 starts before Arizona went very well. 2-0 record and allowed just 5 earned runs in 19 2/3 innings against Oakland, Tampa Bay. And then, of course, he faced Arizona. (10-6) this year with a 4.5 ERA. Eric will get the job done as Kane moves to third. He was really fooled by the tough lefty John Lester, but Eric does his job, and you'll see the team meet him at the top step of the dugout. Job well done. That's team baseball.
Well, you know, it's important. You get a lot of love after making it out. That's a fine at bat, too. Take nothing away from Eric. He saw a ton of pitches. That will help him in his second and third time through the order.
Golden opportunity for Billy Butler for RBI number 58. He's tied with Alex Gordon for the team lead with 57. Hosmer has 53. Billy with 4 hits in the Minnesota series.
Billy's got 17 lifetime at-bats against him. 4 hits, 1 double, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. Hasn't taken him deep. It doesn't need to here. How about a sac fly?
Well, he's seeing a lot of pitches inside, both that cut fastball and now breaking ball miss in. Billy with a 2-0 count.
But he'll mix him. Changeup's another pitch that he'll throw in there to righties. Kind of goes away from him a little bit.
A lot of teams are pitching around Billy Butler. He already has 4 more walks, 5 more walks, I should say, than he had all of last season. And again, they come inside. And George Brett, when he was with the team, told Billy, you've got to be able to take your walks. Even in my heyday, when I led the league in hitting, I was intentionally walked one year 31 times.
Wow. Billy's been intentionally walked 7 this year. 31 times. Boy, you're a hitter when that happens.
Remember that year Barry Bonds walked over 200 times? It was ridiculous because they didn't have anybody hitting behind him. And you can see Billy Butler with the walks. He's never been really what you would call a patient hitter. He wants to hit the baseball, but he has had to be patient this year. Lester got the strike across. And now he will enjoy his 60th walk of the year. And the way Lester's looking at this, well, I've got them set up for a double play. It's a lefty-lefty matchup with Alex Gordon. But Gordon beginning to pick things up. He was 1 for 23 and then homered and doubled yesterday.
And you know, Alex, he's one of the toughest hitters to double up in the American League. He's only doubled up 3 times. He's in the top 10 in that category. Alex had a lot of success so far this year against lefties, hitting .303. 5 of his 11 homers have come off of southpaws. Lorenzo Cain waiting to go ahead.
In the dirt, good block by Saltalamacchia.
You know, Lester's been throwing cutters to left-handers. And typically, a lefty doesn't throw cutters to a lefty. Usually, they save that to the righty because it comes inside quickly and it breaks their bat. But you know, he's a veteran and he's evolving. And he's throwing, which appears to be an inside fastball, then cuts over and catches a corner on the inside.
He's fallen behind Alex Gordon 2-0. Gordon got one to his liking on the night they gave away the Gordo Nation t-shirts and hit one out to center field, his 11th home run of the year. Timed that one well, but just did get underneath. 2 balls and 1 strike. Cain doubled to start the inning. Hosmer grounded him to third. Butler walked. Next pitch will be the 20th for Lester.
That's right, make him work. That's what they're doing.
3-1. Veteran right-hander who has been playing very good baseball, waiting his turn on deck in Miguel Tejada.
Okay, Alex, he's going to spread out that plate a little bit. Anything close, he doesn't want to get called out looking. He is hitting .367 with runners in scoring position and less than 2 outs. He's going to spread out the plate a little bit.
Royals had runners in scoring position in the first last night, and Gordon ripped one to the first baseman, Justin Morneau, and they were left stranded.
Lester, he didn't like the feel of that ball, and he wasn't sure about that one. A pitcher can grab the ball, Fizz, a new one, and he can feel right away whether it's a ball he wants to throw or not. And he hesitated after he got that new one just then. He hesitated for a second as though to give it back, and then made it when it kept going to the mound. He said, all right, I'll take it.
Alex again lifts it foul, so this is quite a duel between two veterans. 29-year-old John Lester, 29-year-old Alex Gordon.
Alex is just 2 for 15 lifetime with 1 double, 7 punch-outs he's had. Lester's gotten him.
Lefties have hit John at a .270 clip this year. That will be deep enough. Gomes now tumbling in. They say he did not make the catch, so Kane will score. Butler to second. And Gordon should get an RBI for the sacrifice fly.
All right, folks, it's very difficult read out there, especially when you haven't been in a ballpark and this time of night. The wind's blowing in. Okay, he's not used to it, Johnny Gomes. And on contact, look at he backed way up as to back up to get some kind of momentum on the throw. Next thing he knew, he said, oh, I forgot about the wind. The wind plays an element. Look at he tried to sell it, and there was no sale. You could clearly see it bounce. Nice try.
It will be an E7, but also a sacrifice fly with an RBI given to Alex Gordon.
Great try to sell it. It's beautiful.
All I can tell you is way to go Greg Gibson, because he was the third base umpire hustling out there to make sure he had a good view. He did. He immediately ruled safe.
Yeah, hey, look. The wind is not blowing nearly like it does here at the K, but still enough on a high fly ball like that to push it back.
And Eddie Rodriguez had Lorenzo Cain already tagging at third base. Gomes does not have a great arm, and, well, there would have been no play anyway. So now it's Miguel Tejada. Miggy down in the count, 0-2, but one of the things that you like to see, Rex, is the fact that they are forcing Lester to throw a lot of pitches early. 25 just to get one man out in the first inning. And statistically, Kansas City with a much better bullpen than Boston.
Yeah, you love to tax the guy, especially in the first inning. Put a little doubt in his mind. They're not done with just one out here. I think he's going to try to keep the ball off the ground if he can. If he does, find out hole. Don't hit into a double play.
Bloop to center field, but will be caught by Dustin Pedroia. I'm not even sure if that ball was hit high enough to be called an infield fly rule, because you have to have runners on first and second or bases loaded.
Yeah, no, they called it. I saw a first base umpire.
Because I was just saying, Hud, it was just a little flare.
He tricked him. It's a changeup. He cued it.
I saw the second base umpire kind of race out there with his arm up. But it's an interesting situation where what is the difference between a soft line drive and a pop-up? Well, here is Justin Maxwell. We saw him in a clutch situation, not hit a soft line drive, but he powered one out last Saturday in the 12th inning in Kansas City's win. Fastball low. Game-winning home run against the Mets on Saturday when he took a David Aardsma fastball out.
He's got power to all fields.
6'5", 220.
Never has faced Lester. That's good. Doesn't matter sometimes, especially against the hard thrower. The guy Albers the other day, the rookie who made his debut, he was a soft tossing lefty and he fooled a lot of guys. He tricked them. It's kind of like Bruce. A little bit easier for a hitter to face a guy who's firm, like Lester.
He has missed to Justin Maxwell. There is a lefty on deck in Mike Moustakas. Maxwell with a good eye thus far. 3-0 count.
Next pitch, number 30.
Danny Duffy threw 31 in the first inning last night. Didn't make it out of the fourth. Ball 4. So Maxwell walks to load the bases. 2 walks in the inning by Lester. And John is screaming at the top of his lungs, disgusted with what is taking place. And out goes their pitching coach. And I'll be honest with you, Juan Nieves is not pleased either. And I'm not sure if it's about the way John is throwing or Jerry Lane's strike zone.
Well, Lester's been around long enough to know you can't blame the umpire. Look, he's just his commands off in the first inning. Okay, you know, that ball is on the outer half, according to Fox Tracks, and also home plate umpire Jerry Lane. So look, no issues with Jerry Lane. It's all about Lester. But right here, Lester's the one that has the pressure on him, not Moose. Moose can tell himself, hey, look, I'm going to look for one pitch out over and try to get a base hit on it. If it happens to be the one I like, maybe I get under it and pull it out of here.
We remember Moustakas hitting a grand slam in Toronto last year. The Royals have hit 3 this season. 2 by Alex Gordon, 1 by Lorenzo Cain. Is there a 4th by Billy Butler? Yeah.
Yes, there is. There's 4 slams on the year.
One count to Mike Moustakas. Moose with 10 home runs last year. 10 home runs this year. He hit 20 last year.
It's a lousy single to keep it going. Get another run to match that pitch count.
2-1.
Okay, whether or not the Royals get another run, it's been a successful top of the first. Or excuse me, bottom of the first. See this many pitches? It's a beautiful thing.
There's a shot to right field. That's a base hit. In comes Butler, right behind Gordon. 3-0 Royals.
Make that error hurt in left field right there. That's exactly what happened. And Moustakas, he waited for a pitch that was elevated. Okay? Didn't try to juice him and overswing and pound him out of the ballpark. He just stayed on it with a short, compact swing. He's a hot hitter getting hotter, especially with runners in scoring position. He was under 100 the whole year. Now, he's up. He's moving his way up the ladder. We'll take it. 29th and 30th ribbies.
And this against a guy who has historically been one of the best left-handers in the game the last 5, 6, 7 years. Way high with the fastball. I mean, he was one of the best lefties in the game from 2008 through 2011, averaging 16 wins and a 3.3 ERA twice. Jon Lester struck out 225 batters in a season, now facing Brett Hayes, who is starting for the second straight game. Ball, one strike, but Lester has been forced to throw at least 37 pitches in this first inning.
And that's a pitch there he didn't really want to throw, but he's going to have to start throwing that changeup. Another big curveball he's not able to command. Fastball's having some issues with that, but the changeup's been the pitch that's worked so far. He's only thrown 3 of them.
Hayes pops it up right side. Nava over, runs out of room. The last 2 years, Rex, for Jon Lester, only a 19-20 record with a 4.7 ERA. He improved this year, and he's had some great starts, but then he had a start like he did against Arizona last week.
He's left pitches up. He's doing the same thing here in this first.
Brett looked to be on that fastball, fouling it back. Hayes had 2 hits yesterday in his Royals debut.
Beautiful thing when you can get the bullpen stirring when one of your best pitchers is out there in the first inning, and now they got to get some action going. That is a beautiful thing. But they're not done with him. Hayes has a chance to get another base hit right here.
Hayes ripped it down the line.
Okay, he's hit one down, fouled off of the right side. Now he's pulled one down the left side. Try one right back up the middle in between here.
The Royals have scored 3 runs on only 2 hits. The leadoff double by Kane and the single by Moustakas that drove in 2. He eventually strikes out Brett Hayes, but it took him 41 pitches to get 3 Royals out in the first inning.
Royals fans came to watch a fantastic baseball game, and a track meet's breaking out all of a sudden.
against Boston. He now is 6 for 11 with 4 doubles, and that double in the first got the Royals started. Moustakas drove in 2. And Bruce Chen has a 3-0 lead. And Hud, he is looking for his 4th win against a former club. He's beaten Philadelphia, Houston, Baltimore this year. He pitched briefly for the Red Sox way back in 2003.
All right. Bruce, he knows what to do, especially when he gets a lead. Not much different, but just from the confidence side, throw strikes. Go after him.
We saw what a 3-0 lead early could do for the confidence of Andrew Albers in Tuesday's Minnesota win. Johnny Gomes, the batter, hitting .239, 10 home runs. But the key to Johnny is when he gets those home runs. It seems like every time he hits a home run, it's either a walk-off, a pinch hit home run when they desperately need it to tie a game.
Johnny Gomes, he's faced him 21 times, 5 hits, 1 double, couple homers, 7 punch-outs. Hitting .207 against lefties with 5 homers. You know, the impressive thing about Johnny Gomes is Wednesday night he hit his 4th pinch hit home run of the 2013 season. 4 pinch hit homers in 1 year. So he's a beast off the bench.
He pops one up here. Justin Maxwell trots on, makes the catch for out number 1. Hey, Jayhawk fans, KU Day at the K is on Sunday, August 25th against the Nationals. The first 750 fans that bring the KU Day ticket to the table inside Gate B will receive a limited edition crimson, blue, and white KC cap presented by Fox Sports Kansas City and Rally House. Plus, some fans will receive a Jayhawk theme cup courtesy of Rally House. So go to Royals.com/KU for tickets and join your fellow Jayhawks at the ballpark August 25th. That is another National League East team coming in. That means Bryce Harper will be here. So fans, get your tickets now.
Rock chalk.
All right.
I know you're not a Jayhawk fan, or you would have answered.
Wait a second.
You would have
my
answered
family
me.
went to KU, half went to K-State. I was fortunate to go to Kansas State.
That's all right.
The Little Apple. Here is Alex Gordon by way of Lincoln, Nebraska. The Cornhusker makes the catch, and Bruce Chen likes that. A guy who went to Georgia Tech. Yellow jacket. You're a piece of work. You know that?
Look, you would have
Trying to
answered
get
me.
everybody in trouble.
You would have answered.
You
me
know
properly.
the words to Wabash Cannonball, so don't even go there.
It's all good, especially when it's baseball season and we can all bring every college cap. You notice the caps they give away on those college days? They're all the team's colors. They're the team's colors of each college. I love it. Royals do a great job keeping everybody happy.
Nebraska Day is going to be on Saturday. Darren Erstad, the Cornhuskers baseball coach and good friend of Alex Gordon, will be here. Well, here's Mike Napoli, 31 years old from Hollywood, Florida. And he has been to the playoffs before, and they wanted his guts and leadership on this team.
They also wanted his bat, and that's
You got that right.
he's got 14 homers this year. Maybe down a little bit in home runs, but
Hud, I'm more impressed with 64 RBIs.
he's their bus driver.
Well, this team is second in the American League in batting, but first in runs scored, first in doubles, first in triples. They also have 123 home runs. Oh, he dropped down sidearm, and Napoli figured him out and singles to right field.
You look at Napoli, you see that beard, you're saying, man, you know what? He's got the grizzly look to him. He said in spring training they started their growth and they said no one shaves it the rest of the year. So it's all getting long and hairy. Gomes and Napoli.
He's going to head to the Pacific Northwest after the season is over, and he and Gomes are going to chop down some trees in Petaluma.
And, you know, Bruce Chen, he keeps his manicured.
Daniel Nava. We told his story a little bit at the start of the game when we were talking about the tragedy during the Boston Marathon and the way these two teams played later in the week. The first game on Friday night was canceled, and there was a very emotional Saturday game at Fenway Park, and the Royals were leading, but Daniel Nava in the 8th inning hit a 3-run home run, and that place was electric. And even there were Royals players saying, you know what, maybe it was destiny that they win that game.
Okay, right after Neil Diamond sang live Sweet Caroline, couldn't have written a better script for the city of Boston. They went crazy, emotional.
Moustakas got him. 2 sharp innings for Bruce Chen. 3-0 KC. Third straight 2-hit game last night. A 3rd inning 2-strike single and a 4th inning 2-strike single that both drove in runs as the Royals won 5-2 over Minnesota. So he was driving the bus last night. This young man driving his birthday bus. He is 10. Happy birthday to you. But who's driving the bus so far for the Royals?
Well, it's got to be Moose so far. Although with Bruce Chen and his 4 starts as he's had since the second half of this season, he's been a driver once or twice, Bruce has. So pitchers can drive, although Moose so far has got the lead today.
And just a reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. He is working Escobar upstairs and quickly has 2 strikes on him. Lester had to throw 41 pitches to get out of the first. He has dominated Kansas City in his past. There's the breaking ball. Did Escobar go? He did not. The count moves to 1-2. Lester's made 9 career starts. This is number 10. And he threw a no-hitter against the Royals back in 2008, but 6-2, 1.64 ERA overall. That's the lowest ERA against any American League club and the lowest among active major league starters with at least 50 innings pitched. To right field, Victorino's there, 1 out. So that inning was the roughest inning by far he has ever had. And you look at Lester at his best versus the Royals, ahead of Seaver, ahead of Rick Sutcliffe, who was here tonight, Teddy Higuera and Roger Clemens. And Lester has the lowest, but it is going up after 3 runs in the first.
So they've owed him. And it's just the first inning. Still a long way to go. Red Sox, they got plenty of offense.
Grounded to third. Brock Holt throws out Kane. Let's go back to May 19th, 2008. John Lester's best pitching performance as he got the no-hitter against the Royals. How about that play? Jacoby Ellsbury.
That looked like David Lowe's play.
No-hitter. Hosmer has been out twice on grounders to the right side. Lester with a much easier second inning than was his first. Win Crown Club tickets. How many games will the Royals take from the Sox? Text 432-432 and enter A, B, C, or D. Vote in tonight's Unlimited Answers poll and enter for your chance to win 2 Crown Club tickets to a future Royals game courtesy of Sprint.
Make your votes. I'd be happy if they split. I'm sure Ned would too. But I know the fans out there are greedy in the baseball they've been watching from their Royals. I bet we get a lot of D's, a lot of 4s, but it's going to be a steep uphill climb to sweep this team. Because look, Fizz, they're tops in the majors in runs scored, RBIs, doubles, walks, second in hits. However, when you have the best pitching, you got a chance to win. Because pitching outdoes good hitting.
Lorenzo Cain, the speedy center fielder, comes on to make the play on Jared Saltalamacchia's pop fly.
Well, now he got a good jump coming in on that, but he just snow coned it right at the end of his glove here. Ooh, just closed it down just in time. And look at him. He said, ooh, look what I found. Put that baby back in there.
How did that get there? Because he really had it in the basket and then it rolled to the very end.
Sometimes it hits the palm and rolls out before you can close it.
Here is the kid Brock Holt, 25 years old now, from Fort Worth, Texas. He was part of the Pittsburgh Pirates deal in 2012. Melanson, who's become their closer for the Pirates right now. He's a mega player deal. Short. Escobar. Got him.
Escobar came in on contact. He knows how to read that ball. He's a fantastic shortstop. He'll have a Gold Glove before his career's over, maybe more. He might have multiple Gold Gloves. He's just very skilled. Great footwork, tremendous throwing arm. He's a nice athlete, and he knows how to position himself.
Every hitter wants to swing that bat, strike the ball well, but Bruce Chen continues to prey on the hitter's ego. And he has Boston's timing off a bit early in this game. Right at the knees. Jerry Lane has had a good strike zone. He's giving that low strike to Bruce Chen. Good pitch efficiency. He likes to be between 12 and 15 pitches per inning. Then he drops down sidearm, gets the fly ball to left. Gordon pulling it down. 1-2-3 go the Sox in the third. 3-0 Kansas City.
Let it go, Bruce.
Jack Spar is sitting in the Buck O'Neil legacy seat, and after deciding to devote his time to coaching his daughter and their friends, Jack became involved in the Johnson County Girls Athletic Association, hoping to make sports more accessible to girls. Jack served as the president of the board of directors of the JCGAA, and during his tenure oversaw the construction of multiple new softball fields, a gymnasium that houses basketball courts, and expanded the number of programs offered to girls. And we've been out there, and it is beautiful. John Lester back to work. Billy Butler slices it foul. Butler walked and scored the Royals' second run, and the base hit by Mike Moustakas.
Cutter in. Might see a changeup coming up here. Cutters in, changeups, and occasional curveballs to go along with his nice 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Got to zone him.
2-3. It's 5 straight retired since the base hit by Mike Moustakas. John Lester threw 41 pitches in the first inning when he faced 8 Royals, but only needed 7 pitches to get 3 outs in the second. So obviously he has made adjustments.
You know, that's typically what you see happen is you get the guy in the first inning, whether he's a veteran or he's a rookie. They have a hard time figuring out what they got that night. And then veterans typically will just go ahead and mow them down after that. You see that a lot. But that 3-run lead is pretty special for Bruce. And it's a good thing because the Red Sox are 46-9 when they score first. That's the highest such winning percentage in the majors. Unbelievable. That's a big mark. But to beat them to the punch, it's even better.
They are a team with a lot of power, a lot of patience on offense. But their starting rotation, much like Kansas City, has carried them. And that one is wide. 3-0 to Alex Gordon, who has walked 40 times this year. In there with a fastball at 93.
Tell you, the last time Gordon hit that ball out there in his last at bat to Johnny Gomes, that turned the game around early. Could be the play of the game. It didn't happen.
Ellsbury, about 10 feet from the warning track, pulls it down for out number 2.
All right, let's go back to that first inning and see. Johnny Gomes, he was trying to back up on it to make a good throw at home. Gomes, he has 5 outfield assists this year, so he's a decent outfielder, but he just misread that. And I can tell you, he really, I mean, he went into shock when he realized he couldn't make that play. I wanted to say something else, but it wasn't appropriate, so I was trying to find the right words. He messed himself. When he figured out he couldn't catch that ball, Fizz, he panicked and he went, oh my gosh, it's the first inning. It's our ace lefty. I can't do this.
Rex, with the clouds overhead and dusk, do you think there was any poor read by Johnny Gomes?
Ooh,
here's the right fielder, Victorino, with a very nice catch.
No, Johnny Gomes just didn't play the wind. The wind was blowing in and pushed the ball down.
3 up, 3 down for Lester, but it's the Royals up by 3. Fun Day Sunday to enjoy face painters, balloon artists, kids entertainment by Radio Disney's Road Crew, and much more. Sundays at the ballpark is your family destination. We've got the Red Sox in town. Go to Royals.com/Sunday for tickets. The homestand has gone quite well. Royals taking 2 of 3 from Minnesota with a 3-0 lead early against the Red Sox in Game 1 of a 4-game series. Shane Victorino, the batter, popped up to right field and then just took a base hit on Miguel Tejada's pop up to right field to end Kansas City's third. Popped up right side. Tejada drifting out. He makes the catch. So Tejada saying, Shane, you took my base hit away. I'm going to make sure that yours doesn't fall behind my head.
That changeup is really tough, especially if you've never faced him before. Victorino never has faced Bruce. So when you face him for the first time, it can be tough.
Here is Dustin Pedroia.
He's just hard to get a gauge on because he just changes speeds and location all the time.
Rex, I was going to ask you that because Miguel Tejada, when he made the catch, he had the biggest smile on his face. And was it because he saw the opposing hitter get fooled so badly because of Bruce's off speed?
No, he's happy as heck to be in that lineup. Are you kidding me? That's just him.
He was ear to ear with that grin.
No. Because this guy, he's childlike. He has childlike joy in him, energy. Salvi Perez has the same kind of joy. So does Escobar. They love the game. These guys just love it. Now, Alex Gordon, he has that too. He just holds that in. But look at it. Okay, he takes it. He laughs. It's because he's in a big league game. He's right where he wants to be. He's been playing ball since he's been 5 years old, Fizz. And he knows it's coming to an end. So he's really enjoying it right now, especially him winning. And that's the truth.
Well, I was hoping you wouldn't lie to us.
I'm not trying to, be funny. I mean, look, being around him, that's what he brings.
That's a pitch we see Dustin Pedroia hit, but it almost looked like a pitch that really fooled him. He's a good high ball hitter.
He gets everything. He's got him a nice new contract.
8 years.
Ooh.
Bruce allows his first base on balls of the evening. A 1-out walk to Pedroia.
Could have hit him too. I mean, he came in there with a four-seamer. Just missed him though. He's a baseball rat. Is that guy Pedroia. You can see the difference in height. Look, in baseball, doesn't matter your size. It's all about your heart and your talent. And if you have more heart and hustle in you and less talent, you still can play at the highest level. And that guy, Pedroia, he has it all. Him and Alex Gordon could be brothers.
It still would be the odd couple.
But they're similar makeups. They're baseball rats.
I know who's Felix and I know who's Oscar.
Yeah, so they absolutely love it. But they live and breathe it. They go home. These guys aren't out. They're not out in the cities that they perform in. They go home and get their rest during the season.
Great pitch on the hands of a power hitter like Johnny Gomes, and a weak pop up to first base for out number 2. That is 6 pop-ups.
Hey,
one
watch
flyout.
Fish, watch this. See anything different about this? Hosmer catches that ball down at his waist. You would never teach that to a kid because they can't catch him. But that guy, he's got great skills at first base, Fizz. He can do whatever he wants.
Baseball America said he was the best at his position when they ranked the best tools yesterday.
We talked about Escobar with a future gold. This guy here might win more than any Royal out there in his career. Oh, no, Alex Gordon's got a 2-start head start on him. He's already got 2. Stay with it.
This will be the 7th pop-up already. And Escobar does stay with it. And Bruce Chen continues to confound the Boston Red Sox through 4.
Here at Kauffman Stadium as the Royals lead at 3-0. Joel Goldberg here. And we had social media night earlier and still going on right now. And Jeremy Guthrie spent a lot of time out at Rivals, had a really good time. He was answering questions from Twitter to answering questions to fans that were there in attendance, stayed a long time after, signing autographs, and really was having a good time mixing it up. And some of the more fun discussions that we had in this one were some of the routines and some of the interesting things about Jeremy Guthrie, because with over 60,000 followers on Twitter, he's very into this. And one question, guys, was about his game day routine. And he said, well, he likes to get up, wrestle around with the kids a little bit, and then he likes to, oftentimes on a day he starts, mow his lawn. Now, that's one we haven't heard before, although Jeff Montgomery says that when he used to start, he would wash his car on days that he started. And Guthrie then joking, because, you know, guys are superstitious, eating the same meal and all that kind of stuff. He says, sometimes I'll mow the same strip, you know, over and over again. Guilty confessions? Well, they're not really guilty confessions. He let everybody know, as he often does on Twitter, that his favorite show that he watches over and over again and has watched since the beginning, The Bachelorette. He loves that show. And he also suggested that he enjoys, you know, Garth Brooks and the song Friends in Low Places being played out here, but he thought maybe in the 8th inning a Sweet Caroline type of sing-along from one of the songs from the theater show or the musical Jersey Boys. I don't know how many players will ask for that, but he thought it'd be a nice sing-along.
Well, there have been so many come-from-behind victories, like the Gordon walk-offs, Joel, that we could sing "Oh, What a Night."
Ball in there.
Moustakas gets another knock.
Well, that was the song that he wanted, "Oh, What a Night." And he thought that everybody, you know, in the 8th inning could sing along and be cheering with that. And I do want to say, for the record, in our ear, at least in my ear, I just heard producer Joe Libero said this was the best season of The Bachelorette yet.
Well,
I don't know.
When the Bachelorette gets their heart broken towards the end, I mean, that's, you can't get a better drama than that.
You watch that too, Hud?
No.
Jeremy said he enjoys True Love.
No, I lied. I watch it when I can.
Here is Brett Hayes, and he takes a strike in the outside corner. Lester's pitch count right now at 65. 40 have made the zone, 25 missed. His rough inning was the first one. He walked a couple. One to Billy Butler, where it looked like he was working around him to set up a double play for Gordon. But Gordon reached on a sacrifice fly, E7. And Moustakas drove in the other 2 runs.
And Moose, 7 multi-hit games since the All-Star game. Boy, they needed him in a big way. And he was one of the pieces offensively that were missing for Ned. And Ned said, hey, look, we'll come on. It's just taking longer than we'd hoped.
The runner goes, and he will be out. Brett tried to protect him with the pitch, really good down and in, and even though Hayes fell over the plate, Saltalamacchia still threw a strike to second base.
Well, that's a hit and run, and sometimes you take a chance doing that, especially if the pitch is a nasty one like that. Okay, you're expecting the hitter to protect Moose. That wasn't a straight steal by any means, but it was a nasty slider down and in. He couldn't get to it.
Lester grabs the ground ball from Hayes, tosses him out. We head to inning number 5. Royals 3, Red Sox nothing. so instrumental in the Royals' success. These are the best records since the All-Star break. Detroit, well, they're after their 12th straight win. They are 16-3, but the Royals right behind them at 15-4. Tampa Bay 11-6, and then Boston at 12-7. And Ned Yost knows it starts with starting pitching. And Bruce Chen, since the break, 3 starts, all have been quality. Moved back into that rotation when Luis Mendoza was taken out. And he's gone 6 innings each time. Mike Napoli has one of 2 hits by Boston tonight. It was a line single down the right field line on a pitch away from him. And that ended a 0-for-15 slide that Napoli had been in. .259 hitter with 160 home runs in his career. He's hit as many as 30 home runs in one season. That was with Texas a couple of years ago. He went.
Okay, Napoli's the DH tonight, but he's been playing a lot of first base this year. He's got a flamingo kick. We see that, and they said he went. And I asked him how he was coming at first base. He said he loves it. You know, he had a hip issue this year, and they went they gave him an MRI, and the doctor saw before they even signed him to about a $40 million contract. And they found out he had some kind of deteriorating disc or
was it
some
like
kind of,
Bo Jackson's?
Yeah, something wrong with his ball and socket joint. Anyway, it was okay. Turns out it was all right, but you know they only gave him a 1-year deal for about $13 million or less than that. But still, he said when I caught it bothered me, but when I play first base it doesn't bother me. So that's where they've been putting him. They DH him and play first base. And when I mentioned how he's coming along, he mentioned Eric Hosmer, and he said, "Your first baseman, he's a beast." He says, not only offensively, but I love his glove work. So he raved about Hosmer. They're being watched.
Bruce Chen works him going upstairs with an off-speed pitch at 83 miles an hour. Get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet. Bruce Chen is topped out at 87, Lester at 95, but Bruce, as you know, he will range that fastball from 83 to 87. Take off, put on. Do the same thing with his changeup and with his curveball. So it looks like 3 pitches become about 6-7.
You got that right, and I tell you, he can put guys in a slump for a week. It's fun to watch.
Here is Daniel Nava as one of the grounded out his first time up. The Braves were the first team to find Bruce and sign him out of Panama City at the age of 16. And you've got to think that that has to be a difficult transition because he was still in high school. But in Latin American countries, you can sign at the age of 16. In the States, no, you've got to be a graduate of your high school.
It's unbelievable how Bruce can slow guys' bats down with an 83-mile-an-hour fastball. It blow it right by him. Looks like it's 97. That's because he gets the hitters thinking. They start guessing on what's coming. And, you know, there's some soft tossers that have come before Bruce. He's not the first soft tossing lefty, and they could cause fits. We got a lot of pop-ups.
This will be the 8th pop-up of this game already. 9 flyouts, but 8 of them are just weak pop-ups on the infield or outfield.
Best thing that happened for Bruce tonight were the 3 runs his team got him in the first inning. And he goes, okay, muscle memory. Look at him looking around. He's looking for his defense, making sure they're ready. He's checking Escobar. He's wanting to know where they're playing. Now, he may not direct his defense like James Shields does, but he's a veteran guy who looks where they're playing.
I love to watch James Shields because he's like an air traffic control director out there, moving guys around, bringing the outfielders in. Little flare to left field. Alex will make the catch. 5 shutout innings for number 52. He'll be handing out those T-shirts. 83 Blue Bayou. By Panera Bread, try pasta the Panera way. Live consciously, eat deliciously. And by Ford, see the new F-150 at your Midwest Ford dealer today. And by ATT Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. Steve Physiak, Rex Suther, Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery with you at the K. Good crowd on hand for game 1 of this 4-game series. The Royals coming off a series victory over Minnesota, their 6th straight series win. Now, Cedes Escobar will lead things off. Shows bunt. Flied out to right field his first time up. Just off the glove of Daniel Nava, and the Royals have speed at first base.
All right, Escobar, he'll take it. He gets a majority of his hits, at least recently, to right field. He'll take that right off of the end of the glove of Nava. 12 for 12 steals in bags this year, Escobar, but he hasn't run a whole lot lately. Look at that. Good little piece of hitting there. And a great effort. Fully stretched out. Lester, he'll be good over there. He's tough to read. He's got a step-off move as well.
We saw Saltalamacchia throw out a runner, but that was on a hit and run, and Moose cut down at second base.
And he will slide step, which cuts the time in half.
Escobar 12 for 12 stealing bases. Lester, as you know, gets a lot of ground ball outs. So Ned Yost might be aggressive.
But when he throws that slider down and in like he just did to Kane, and he did one to Hayes when Moose was on a hit and run, you're going to get, a swing and a miss lots of times.
41 pitches in the first, but he has settled down ever since. 2-1 count goes Cain's way. Escobar looked like he had a little better read of Lester, but he does change his deliveries home. Sometimes he'll have the higher leg kick, other times that slide step.
That's right. He varies his moves. He's getting better at holding all the time. Wasn't his specialty, though, when he first came in.
3-1. Cain has walked 31 times this year. Royals with 3 runs on 4 hits. Red Sox no runs on 2 hits. Royals scored all 3 in the first on a E7 by Gomes sacrifice fly and a 2-run single by Moustakas. In there, 3-2, and Escobar still not getting a good read at all on Jon Lester. They might send him with this 3-2 count. Does not go, and Cain swings and misses.
Got a foul ball.
Foul tip into the glove.
Oh, there you go.
Cain was hanging around, but I saw home plate umpire Jerry Lane say foul tip, caught, 1 out.
Well, Lorenzo didn't see the actual out call being made. He thought it might have hit the ground still. But he tipped it. Saltalamacchia was able to glove it. Showed it to the home plate umpire Jerry Lane.
Only the second strikeout of the night for Jon Lester. Eric Hosmer twice has grounded out to the right side.
If
Boston.
If you're going to go off Jon Lester, you got to go on his first movement. The minute he picks up his foot, you got to take off and take a chance he's going home. Because if you wait till he gets his leg kick all the way up there, that's too late. They're going to throw you out at second. So basically, you're guessing.
2 balls, no strikes.
Hosmer's at-bat in the first inning after Cain had a leadoff double was the at-bat of the game for me so far, because Hosmer milked his pitch count. He fouled off a bunch of pitches. He had the pitch to 3-2 and a measly ground ball to the first baseman got Cain to third base, and they got those 3 runs. But to me, Hosmer's at-bat was special.
Tried to check his swing, but tips it foul off to the left. A 2-1 count. And it's those little things that the Royals are doing more and more that we've seen the last couple of months that they did not do early. And it seemed like individually they were each trying to get out of that tough month of May when they went 5-20.
I think I shared with you last night, Fizz, about how quickly guys mature in this game of baseball. And this is not the same Kansas City Royals team as it was in April and May. I mean, this team is a lot more confident now. It's like after that All-Star break, they said, okay, let's show the rest of the world who we really are. And it's confidence. They believe they're winning every game.
Juggled by Napoli. Hosmer's safe.
So now Hosmer may not be the fastest Royal, but the way the Royals run the bases, the fact that Escobar didn't even attempt to steal, it made Nava a little bit nervous when he came to catch that ball. He's going, what should I do with it? Escobar's too fast. I can't get him at second. What am I going to do? And he bobbles it, and then they're all safe. That's what speed does when you run the bases. He knew he had to rush to get Escobar, and then Lester couldn't even get his foot on the base. But that's exactly what that was. He panicked. He looked up before he could because they run so well. They're aggressive.
And Napoli, the usual first baseman, but Nava in his spot tonight, and Mike Napoli DHing. So 2 on with 1 out, and that continues to push up John Lester's pitch count. Right now at 81, not yet through 5. Billy Butler with 2 on, and Billy has walked and grounded out. Perfectly placed cut fastball at 87, strike 1. He was able to get Billy to reach for a low breaking ball in inning number 3, and he tapped it to third. Let's go back to April 21st at Fenway Park. He hit it a ton.
Oh, was that nice? He did hit it a ton, and I believe that was the first Billy bomb with some barbecue sauce on it. That was a beauty.
Butler has 9. Waved at a pitch way upstairs, and that was out of the zone, and that's something we've not seen from Billy. So 3 strikeouts for Lester.
Sometimes when you raise that eye level like that, it surprises you more than anything, and that's what that was. It just surprised him. And that's a good pitch. Credit Lester for that. Don't get on Billy.
No, I'm just saying
No,
it's tough to lay off.
I know. I'm just telling some of the fans might be going, oh, Billy. This is a great pitch.
I'm sorry I blew up, Hud.
It's all right. I'll forgive you. As long as Alex comes through right here.
Escobar at second. He reached on a single to right field off the glove of Daniel Nava. 1 out later, Hosmer sent one to Nava, and he booted it for an error. So the Royals trying to make him pay. Strike 1 to Alex Gordon, as Lester seems to be painting much better in the later innings. He had a rough first inning where he faced 8 Royals, threw 41 pitches, 3 runs scored. Boston has not defended well tonight. They have suffered 2 errors. 1 hurt them. This one in the 5th inning is just forcing Lester to throw more pitches. Seeds during the game.
That's okay. We see a lot of guys eating. Whatever it takes to relax you.
Lester has thrown as many as 124 pitches in a game this year. They say he did not go, so the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lester continues to tease the Royals up in that strike zone.
Once you start that swing, it's really hard to hold it back, especially as strong as these guys are.
Farrell thought it was strike 3.
You know, Fizz, I witnessed former MVP, great hitter Don Baylor check a swing one time, just start forward and stop, and the top of the bat snapped in 2 with no contact.
That was a strong man.
Yeah, just all strength right there. That's the torque on that bat. when you try to hold your swing back. There's a lot of pressure there.
Gordon off speed, pops it up, and Pedroia will make the catch, and the Royals' threat is turned back in inning number 5.
Us to Cleveland. This one was over practically before it started. A 6-run third inning for Detroit. They tack on 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. They chased Zach McAllister early. Prince Fielder part of all the fun. And they are absolutely rocking Cleveland right now. 10-2 is the final. That game, when it ends, will finish Detroit's year at Cleveland, where they went will have gone 9-1. On the season, guys.
Ooh. And do you know what their pitching has been during that 12-game win streak? An ERA of 1.2 something. It's like crazy.
It's kind of like ours.
Royals right now with the lowest ERA in the American League at 3.56. Lower than that with the 5 shutout innings thrown by Bruce Chen. He has completely upset Boston's timing. But Brock Holt will lead things off, and then it will be Ellsbury and Victorino's 3rd time seeing Bruce Chen. We'll see what adjustments they have made. Holt again tries to flip one. It'll make the seats in foul territory and advantage Bruce Chen at 0-2. Bruce's last start, he really confused a beat-up offense in the New York Mets. A lot of injuries. He allowed 1 run in 6 innings, no walks, and struck out a season-high 8. Most Ks in 2 years. Tried to get him a chase. The fastball from the side.
Yep. Bruce will throw sidearm fastballs, overhand curves, sidearm curve. He can throw anything.
Well, pretty good discipline by Holt in the last 2.
Was. That's what Bruce likes to get him to swing and miss on. Curves off the plate.
Another flare pop-up. Gordon will take care of that. That is 9 pop-ups in this game. The winner of the Fan Vote T-shirt Tuesday design is Salvador Perez's shirt, presented by Sport Clips, and will be given away to the first 10,000 fans on August 13th. Gates will open at 5:30 when the Royals take on the Marlins, and these T-shirts will go fast. Get your tickets now at Royals.com/T-shirt Tuesday or call 1-800-6-ROYALS.
Wow, I want one of those.
I think we can work that out.
Yeah, next Tuesday, folks. Get you a Salvi T-shirt.
And it was good to see Salvador come out of his workout well today. He is on that 7-day concussion DL. He did have a light workout again today on the field. Said no headaches. Bullpen's job to get it to guy after guy after guy. And boy, was that the theme last night, Rex, because how many relief pitchers were used in 5 1/3 innings to get 9 strikeouts and shut out the Minnesota Twins as the Royals got the win.
They are all geared to get it to Holland. Hochevar, nicely designed T-shirt, by the way.
Here is Jacoby Ellsbury. He is single and flied out. It's been 11 flyouts, but 10 of them pop-ups. And here's a strikeout. Only number 2 of the game for Bruce Chen, but he works Jacoby Ellsbury for number 2 in the 6th.
Yeah, Bruce is not too worried about strikeouts, but he's keeping that ball down. And a certain pitch, that breaking ball, he'll get a few guys to swing and miss on. He had as many as 8. And that was his last start against the Mets. 8 punch-outs this season in a game. But you know, he's tricking them. They're more off balance than the fact that Bruce is leaving the ball up in the zone for pop-ups. That's a byproduct of guys being out front, Viz. And he's popping ball. They're popping them up because they're being fooled. They're being tricked.
The weight transfer has already been
forward. Their hands are, their weight is forward. Their hands are dragging behind, and they just kind of get it through the zone and pop it up. They try to guide it out there. That's how you get pop-ups. They're tricking guys.
A 1-1 count on Shane Victorino, who's popped up twice. And then he'll jam you inside at 83.
That's on his hands.
He has a very simple pitching philosophy. Keep the ball away from the bat, or at least the sweep part of the bat. Another pop-up. 12 flyouts, 11 of them pop-ups. And Bruce Chen continues to dazzle as he is through 6. Come out to Beers of the K, taking place at Rivals Bar on Friday, August 23rd from 5:30 to 7. You can purchase hard-to-find options and local favorites, including selections from Boulevard and Leinenkugel. Brewers will be on hand to answer questions, plus the first 500 people into Rivals will receive a Royals tasting glass. Entry into Rivals is free.
When is that?
But you must be over 21 or have a maturity level over 21, HUD, so you're eliminated. For the full list of beers and to purchase tickets for the game, go to Royals.com/Beers of the K. You're the best.
Sorry, buddy, for jumping in on you like that, but that sounds like a fun time.
It does. And the 6th inning here tonight is our Sonic Slam inning, and our contestant is Lois Walsh from Weston, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Lois will win $300, but if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Lois will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Royals. Lester has allowed 18 home runs this year, 12 to right-handed hitters. Tejada fouls it off, 1-2.
Changeup, effective against righties. That keeps him off his fastball.
And that is the changeup that he taught the Royals left-hander Will Smith. The two work out together in the offseason down in Georgia. He was Boston's second-round pick in 2002 out of Bellarmine Prep in Tacoma, Washington, the state high school MVP. He had committed to Arizona State. And that was right after the Sun Devils saw him throw a no-hitter and strike out 18 of the 21 batters he faced. Well, Boston was there as well. And when they selected him second round, he signed with Boston.
He's been mixing them up big time on Tejada, keeping him guessing. Fastballs, changeup, fastball, changeup, curve. I think he's trying to find one.
Tejada had 2 hits yesterday.
So he chokes up on the bat. Says, you know what, I'm going to have a little more back control.
And then he whacks it to third. It is dropped by Holt, but he still has time and just does get Tejada at first base. Almost Boston's third error of the night.
I thought Brock Holt goosed it a little bit after missing it initially. Sometimes if you don't get your feet set and get up underneath it, watch his arm angle here. Watch this. He got up under it, and it almost sailed.
He's a natural second baseman, isn't he?
He is. But it's hard to play third for that reason, that throw. Got to really stay on top of the ball.
Now Justin Maxwell. He lined out sharply to the left fielder his last at bat. That was really the best struck ball we've seen in the last 4 innings.
Had he got underneath that ball would have knocked down the Hall of Fame wall in left field.
Ooh, that would have made Mr. Nelson mad.
Well, I'm telling you, that ball, he hit the top half of it, and it sunk down right into Johnny Gomes. But on contact, I heard the Kauffman crowd go, ooh. I mean, he's a strong guy. And if he gets those long arms extended, he can hit the ball anywhere in the ballpark. Kind of like a Hosmer.
He had 18 home runs last year for the Astros. Drove in 53.
The same kind of frame as Hosmer. He's an inch taller, but long arms, long legs, leverage is what you get from that, especially when you get extended on a baseball.
Lester over 100 pitches. Of course, there was that very taxing first inning where he threw 41. Got him.
Good location. Stayed with the fastball, but got it out away from it. All right, there it is. You know, I was thinking to myself, what's he going to throw him here? But, you know, you got to challenge a guy like that, especially this time in the game. He doesn't have many pitches left. If he throws ball 4 with an off-speed pitch, he'd second-guess himself.
Moustakas is a perfect 2 for 2. A line single to right that drove in 2, and then a bloop single to right. Ball 1.
First in, caught a little bit of the plate. Moose got it. Brought in a pair.
To center field, Ellsbury comes in about 10 steps to make the catch, and another quick and easy inning for John Lester. But his problem, Bruce Chen has pitched better. Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local Dodge dealer today. Welcome back to Kauffman Stadium. Good crowd on hand as the Royals have taken a 3-0 lead, and it's time for trivia. And there's our panel. And the question is, who is the only team in the majors to go from last to first 2 times since 2000? Well, I know the Minnesota Twins did it. Wasn't that the '87 season, or was it '91 that Twins did it?
Might not have been in 2000.
Boston, of course, won a world championship in 2004, and 3 years later, their second world championship under Terry Francona, who's now the Cleveland skipper. Dustin Pedroia will lead it off, and he fouls it straight back. Dustin has grounded out and walked. He's enjoyed the only base on balls issued from Bruce Chen in 6 innings. And Jeremy Guthrie, I really thought, saved the bullpen on Monday after they went through the National League ballpark, and the bullpen was used a lot in 2 extra inning games, and Guthrie comes out in the opener of this homestand and throws a complete game shutout. And yesterday, Rex, the Royals used 5 relievers, and Chen is giving his team at least 6, working now into the 7th inning, saving the bullpen again. Look at that. It looked like he tossed a pitch up that had a string on it that he pulled back.
Yep. He's just exciting to watch. And when I say exciting, you usually don't hear that word associated with a guy who's a soft tossing lefty, but he's creative. He's a painter. He's Picasso. He knows how to paint. Look at it, so slow. Pedroia doesn't know what to do. He's already committed his weight forward. His hands stayed back, but he had nothing left but arms. And that's all a guy has when it just hits a little weak ground ball. Now, Bruce, must be having some kind of difficulty there. He was in back of the mound for a little while, bending over. So they noticed that. Nick Kinney, head athletic trainer. They're asking Bruce if he's okay. Sure hope so. So I noticed him bent over in back of the mound like he was tired.
So this gives us time to tell us about our Blue Crew. Parents, you can sign your kids up for Slugger's Blue Crew, brought to you by the Learning Quest 529 Education Savings Program. Members receive a gray batting practice jersey, Royals hat, blue wristbands, ticket vouchers, priority access for the Sunday Fun Run, and much more. Membership is just $25. Be a part of the fun by joining at Royals.com/Blue Crew. Here is Johnny Gomes. He's popped up twice, once to right and once to first. A one-hopper to Tejada, softly struck. 2 outs.
Beautiful pitch. I can't remember the last ball that was hit hard off of Bruce.
My goodness. Ellsbury in the first inning, it was a ground ball single up the middle. No, I'm looking back at my score sheet. Mike Napoli, they went away on that base that he had on to right field, but Napoli didn't square it up. That was off the end of the bat.
Yeah, he just kind of stuck the bat out and found a hold on the first base line. I'm talking about
exactly
roped. There hasn't been a real rope out there, and we hope we don't see one. But I'm really liking how Bruce is checking his defense. For some reason in this game, more than any other I've noticed, before, when a certain guy steps up, he's been looking over his shoulder and he's looking where they're defending. And that way he knows in his mind before he makes up what he wants to throw.
Got the strike across.
Okay, now we know how Bruce chews gum, with confidence, but also he's going to mix in a bubble once in a while. And you can blow a bubble when you're dealing.
And he did that because he was giving away his pitches when he wasn't chewing gum by sticking his tongue out.
Yep, several years ago.
Certain pitches.
Yeah, that's what happened.
There is a line drive. It is a soft line drive by Stephen Drew, but he pokes it to center field. And just the third hit of the game off Chen. All three have been singles. Now the right-handed swinging Mike Napoli.
Okay, there's one he just left out over the middle of the plate. Drew did a nice job of keeping his shoulder in until the last minute. And Drew's been really coming on strong for the Red Sox. His play defensively has been fantastic. A lot of people, when the Red Sox traded Iglesias to Detroit, they were thinking that was their shortstop of the future. Some of the people in Red Sox Nation out there were a little bit upset about that, but the fact that Stephen Drew has really picked up his game was one of the reasons they let Iglesias go.
Well, they're also going for a world championship, and they felt they needed another right-handed arm, and Jake Peavy is a terrific pitcher.
Right. So
Peavy will go tomorrow night. Irvin Santana for the Royals. Terrific pitching matchup. We hope to see at the K tomorrow night. Fireworks after the game. Then on Saturday, Dubront against Guthrie. Lackey and Shields go Sunday.
Oh, man, will that be good. They're all going to be great. Come on out, folks.
High in the air. Playable for Gordon. Near the stands, makes the catch. Bruce Chen, 7 innings of work. Hud, he's bubblicious tonight.
Bruce, get it to that pin to win.
And 7 innings of absolutely sensational work. Just 3 weak singles allowed. Here is Brett Hayes to lead things off for Kansas City in the 7th inning. Hayes, Escobar, and Kane. Brett has struck out and grounded out. Lester over 100 pitches. The most he's thrown in a game this year, 124. Hayes hit 11 home runs for the Storm Chasers when he was called up. To right field. 1 out. Let's answer our trivia question. Earlier we asked our AT&T trivia question. Who is the only team in the majors to go from last to first 2 times since 2000?
How about
Marlins?
I was going to say Miami. Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks, of course. From Kirk Gibson's team did that. I wasn't sure if they were talking about world championships. I need a clarification. And I obviously went back before 2000, remembering that Twins team. Escobar, deep short, off the edge of the glove of Stephen Drew. Escobar is on.
I went ahead and gave him a hit before the official score did. But they're going to rule it an error. Because, you know, if he comes up with that cleanly and he has to throw off balance, he may not get a speedy Escobar. It was a nice big turn anyway.
Escobar, you saw him just go wow, and he goes, that was an error? He thought it was his 20th infield hit.
Oh, well. He's on base with 1 out.
How about Lorenzo Cain squaring up one? Lester making a mistake and Cain belting out his 5th home run. It's been a while for Lorenzo to go deep, and he certainly has that skill set.
It's been July 4th.
Grand slam. Sonic slam. He shows bunt. Escobar going, and he will steal his 13th base in 13 tries.
Ooh, man, watch out for those ankles. His left foot hit the top of that base, and that's how you can roll an ankle. Hopefully he didn't. Watch him. It's a late slide. Not a bad throw by Saltalamacchia, but look at that. What's that foot, man? Ooh, man, yeah. I'm telling you, he just dodged a huge bullet right there. I cringed when I saw that slide.
Yep.
And it's if you're not careful going into that base, you'll roll your ankle, you'll break it, you'll tear ligaments. Your season could be over. And fortunately, it didn't stick. It just kept going over the base. Oh, Nick Kenny, he knows. He's seen him. Oh, man, they can't afford him to go down.
Royals have a man in scoring position for the first time since the 1st.
Ooh, man, very fortunate there.
Cain, meantime, with a 1-1 count. The Royals as a team, a .274 hitting team with men in scoring position. Boston, .272. Got it on his fists and barely fouled off.
Okay, and that Saltalamacchia's catcher was setting up on the inner half. Lorenzo Cain, he's tapping his back to see if there's a hairline fracture. So he was setting up from the inside. Pedroia, the second baseman, is over keeping Escobar close. So that leaves a pretty big hole open in second base.
The 113th pitch coming from John Lester. Continues to bore that fastball in on the hands of the big right-hander.
He does. And obviously Pedroia playing over there, you don't have to worry about Kane hitting one into that hole unless there's something out over. 2 strikes here. But there's a big hole over here on this side.
Whacks it into right center field, but coming on is Jacoby Ellsbury. He almost slipped, and that almost cost him. Kane hit it sharply. Is the second out.
Nice jump by Ellsbury. Escobar, good read at second base. Didn't get too far off, but on contact looked like it might have fallen. Escobar, he started coming home, and then he said, nah, I got to remember there's an athlete in center field.
Eric Hosmer reached on an error by the first baseman Nava in the 5th inning. That was the inning the Royals did have their last man in scoring position. I said the 1st inning, but it was the 5th after Escobar had singled and Hosmer reached on the error. De La Rosa is warming in the Boston bullpen. The 116th pitch about to be thrown from Lester. 1 ball, 1 strike. Royals got all 3 runs in the 1st. A double by Kane. Misplay by Gomes in left field. And a 2-out single by Moustakas that scored 2. Wow. He just barely grazed the outside corner.
Hosmer don't want that pitch. That's going to be off the end of the bat. Now they're going, well, should we go soft? Don't want to make a mistake on a hanging breaking ball to this guy. Everybody stay firm. There's 2 outs to strike him out.
Well, he has options with a 1-2 count. Would you go away again with that same fastball?
Yeah, I'm not going to challenge him anywhere out over the plate. I'm going to go hard away or maybe try a breaking ball, but you've got to be careful you don't leave it out.
He did go away and went down with the fastball at 94.
It's a good spot.
There's the breaking ball. That evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. He's right now at 119 pitches. We told you his season high is 124 pitches, and that came in a 7-inning effort against Cleveland that he won 7-4. He threw 130 pitches when he no-hit the Royals back in 2008.
He's a horse. Big guy. Strong.
The 7th inning is when Hosmer really has been clicking. I mean, he has incredible numbers in the 7th inning and beyond this year. Leads the majors with a .383 average in the 7th inning or later. 25 of his 53 RBIs have come after the 6th. Looks like he broke his bat there and grounds out to Dustin Pedroia. So Lester goes 7, gives up 3. The Royals, though, with a 3-0 lead over Boston heading to the 8th. And is Bruce Chen coming back?
3. New York 2-1 over Colorado as the Mets sweep that series, and Pittsburgh is rolling, vesting in the majors. Philadelphia all over Chicago. San Francisco 4-1 against Milwaukee, and LA again beating St. Louis. Our Mazda game break takes us back to Cleveland, 9th inning. That would be Ryan Rayburn, and he retires the side no problem. And would you believe it, guys? He even got a strikeout in that pitching debut. Matt Tuiasosopo will not be hearing the end of that anytime soon.
No question about it. And how about Ryan Rayburn? That's a demand that they needed to have him. They just gave him a 2-year extension. You know that?
It's beautiful.
And there is a flare to center field, a base hit for Daniel Nava. First time since the first inning that Boston has had their leadoff man on.
So Ned's got his guys in the pen. He's got Collins and Hochevar.
Royals used 5 members of the pen last night to knock off the Minnesota Twins 5-2. Coleman, Collins, Crow, Herrera, Holland all worked. Danny Duffy was sent down to AAA Omaha after the game, and they recalled Francisco Bueno, so they do have another option in the pen. Now the batter, Jared Saltalamacchia. He has power, 10 home runs this year. He also has struck out 111 times, and he's flied out twice in this one. I should say popped up. Chen right now at 98 pitches. Collins and Hochevar are both ready. They're standing watching right now as Elliott Johnson did come in defensively. And there is another pop-up. Center field, Lorenzo Cain. 1 out. 14 flyouts. 13 of them have been pop-ups.
So now you get the ground ball and get out of it. And Bruce goes 8.
Well, he is a lefty here and another lefty, Ellsbury, to follow.
Told you, a lot of those pop-ups, those are a result of being fooled. And being out in front with your weight and your hands just coming through the zone, getting underneath it.
He has only gotten 4 groundouts in this game. It's been upsetting their timing. They're getting underneath the baseball, popping it up. Boston came in hot, winning 7 of the previous 10. I was a little surprised that they gave David Ortiz the night off. Now, David obviously is their trump card for the 9th inning. But he was 9 for 12 against Houston. 2 straight 4-hit games. But it was a scheduled off day to give him rest.
He's 7 for 25. 1 homer against Bruce. Bruce has struck him out 8 times. So he probably took a chill pill today. Give him an off day. Another pop-up.
Wow. Gordon. 2 outs. This, fans, is pitching. He is an absolute joy to watch. You have a guy who doesn't break much more than 85, 86, 87 miles an hour. But his location and his movement is exceptional. Fans, you can vote for the Royals Player of the Month, sponsored by Majestic and Rally House. Vote at Rally House stores and get a chance to go on the field and meet the winning player. Jacoby Ellsbury has 1 of the 4 singles in this game.
Brett Hayes again, back-to-back nights. doing a great job behind the plate. Hayes caught Duffy in those 5 relievers, and he's handling Bruce like he's caught him his whole life.
Gordon will not be able to reach this one as it finds the seats, and the count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes. Royals trying to move 6 games over 500. They're currently 58 and 53. We know the Tigers keep on winning. They won their 12th in a row. Ned Yost doesn't care about Detroit. He's only concerned that his team is playing well.
All right, fans are coming up. They understand that Bruce's last pitch could be coming. Hopefully it's a strikeout.
To left field. Gordon will not reach it. That's a base hit. But Alex, with that great arm and showing respect, Daniel Nava, he does not go. But the tying run will be coming to the plate in Shane Victorino.
Okay, Ned's got to come and get him here.
What a job, though, by Bruce Chen.
Yeah, but you can't let him go right now. He's got to get him out of this game, and one heck of a battle. Bruce Chen, get it to the pin to win. Before Ned even takes the ball, people are giving him love.
The great crowd at the K will give him a standing ovation. He leads with a 3-0 lead.
Come on, Chen!
Will Ferrell would be proud.
Heck, Ned Yost is proud of the move that Ned made to get him back in that rotation. So now hand that ball to Hoch. Got to shut it down. Done a nice job this year out of that bullpen. Strike one's his best pitch in this situation. 2 runners, both Bruce's. Good hard mid-90s fastball. Slider curve. Cutters.
And he may have come with that cut fastball in the first pitch to Shane Victorino. Good job with inherited runners this year that he has stranded. Victorino, we told you, came in red hot, 16 for 39, but 0 for 3, 3 times popping up against the Royals left-hander. Now he faces the right-hander, Hochevar. Popped him up. What new? Hoch learned from Bruce Chen. This is great baseball.
Chen and the pin to hopefully win.
Royals baseball is brought to you by Thoroughbred Ford. For the best deals on new Ford cars and trucks, visit thoroughbredford.com. Steve Kuziak, Rex Hudler, Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery with you. 3-0 Royals. Hochevar got Chen out of a jam, and MLB.com at bat is celebrating 5 years as your #1 mobile app for live baseball. The At-Bat app delivers Royals baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, breaking news, and video highlights. So download At-Bat now on your app store or text At-Bat to 31826. Here is our Chevy call to the bullpen. And Billy Butler explodes on one to center field. Ellsbury leaps. It is gone.
For Billy Butler. A nice Billy bomb with barbecue sauce all over it. How about it? First pitch by De La Rosa. Not messing around. He says, you know what, I'll bet you a fastball's coming right down the middle at 95, and he says, I'll send it out at 105. Good natural uppercut. Billy Butler got all that. De La Rosa, now he has a blazing fastball mid to upper 90s, but that one right there was just a first pitch get me over fastball. And exactly what he did, but that change up there, that's a beauty.
That may also allow Ned Yost to sit Greg Holland down and come and bring Luke Hochevar back to finish the 9th inning.
Very well could right there. Give him a breather.
Alex Gordon with a grounder foul. Gordon with a sacrifice fly and error on the play back in inning number 1. And he's also flied to center field and popped up. He's talking about his approach. How to hit the fastball on a tee.
You know, the barbecue sauce has disappeared for now. The guys, were getting excited when they were building their mojo up. And
Do you know why it's gone? Because people are pouring it on their meat and their
that's right.
chicken and their fish.
Yeah. There was supplies
are limited.
They sure are, but still. Look, I think now they're like, look, it's not the barbecue sauce. It's who we are. We're winners.
Tough pick by Pedroia, but he makes the play and throws out Alex.
We are winning, and we're winners. And we're coming to the park today, and we're going to take it to our opponents. We don't care what color uniform there is, where we're playing, only how we're playing.
4 runs, 5 hits for the Royals, 0 on 5 for the Red Sox. Elliot Johnson batting for the first time came on defensively for Miguel Tejada. He swings at a breaking ball, strike 1. Both of Elliott's home runs came against his old team, the Tampa Bay Rays. De La Rosa going more off speed with Johnson. Threw a first pitch fastball to Butler, who exploded on it over the wall in dead center. Now Elliott hits one and drives it to right. Almost misplayed by Victorino, but he twists around like a top and somehow comes up with the baseball.
That was one heck of a catch. And for Elliot Johnson, he can't buy a hit. I mean, he finally squares one up and thought it had a chance for extra bases on it. But Victorino, man, he ran a funky route to get to it. Look, he turned the wrong way, and then he stayed with it enough, and he's a tremendous athlete, obviously, to make that play. Hosmer's saying, how are you going to catch that? Oh, man, that's what he's saying. What a play.
It looked like he was thinking he was supposed to run a flag, but he was supposed to run the post, and then he made the correct adjustment and scored the touchdown.
That's right.
Here is Justin Maxwell. Hochevar ready for the 9th. He did a terrific job to get out of trouble in the 8th. Got the dangerous Victorino on a pop-up. Victorino representing the tying run. Butler made sure only a grand slam could tie the game in the 9th. Maxwell deep to right center. That's a goner.
He's Maxwell smart. Not only is he intelligent, Fizz, but he knows how to drive that ball. To all fields, we talked about his power. Beautiful inside-out stroke here. And he knew on contact, this guy is some kind of strong.
I thought you would call him Justin Maximus.
Call him whatever you want. He's a great addition. Look at Johnson. Elliot Johnson going, did he do it again? 2 home runs now. He hasn't been here a week.
5-0 Royals.
It's been here a little over a week.
Since July 31. Moustakas pops it up to right field. Victorino makes the catch, but 2 big runs in the 8th inning. Butler and Maxwell going deep. Hochevar to finish it for the Royals.
Oh, man, I'm telling you what, 2 right-handed hitters going dead central and offage. Call the cops. It's beautiful.
Live, we'll talk about a key first inning for the Royals offense and the great performance of Bruce Chen, who has a career-long outing against the Red Sox, and the first time he's ever had a start not giving up a run against Boston. His ERA as a starter now this year, 1.13. Jeff Montgomery and I will break it down after the game. Biz?
4 earned runs, Joel, in 31 2/3 as a starting pitcher. What a great move by Ned Yost and Dave Island to put Bruce back in the rotation. And here is Luke Hochevar, who is going for his second save of the year, because when he came on, it was a 3-0 Royal lead. He's facing Pedroia, Gomes, and Drew here in the 9th. Escobar, 1 out. We asked our Sprint Unlimited Answers question. Vote and enter for your chance to win Crown Club tickets. How many games will the Royals take from the Sox? 61% said 3.
Ooh, that would be spectacular.
It would.
Keep it rolling, man.
But we just broadcast them one at a time.
That's it, and that's all they play them, too.
An incredible performance by starting pitcher Bruce Chen. 5-0 overall if the Royals win this game with a 1.79 ERA. Hochevar dealing with Gomes and delivers strike 1. Luke getting more and more comfortable, it seems like, Rex, as a relief pitcher as this year has progressed.
He is, because he's trusting his stuff. He knows his ability. He's got the pitches he always had. Just had a difficult time as a starter. Was inconsistent. But he may have found himself and possibly given himself another opportunity to start sometime later down the road again. He hasn't given up on that. But right now, they're all on the same page, and that is to do their job to just win each night. They could care less about anything else. They have the fever. It has caught them.
And so have the fans. I mean, we had shots of fans dancing in the stands from age 3 to age 80, and they're having a lot of fun with this club playing so well.
And as the weekend goes, if folks have a chance to come out and give this team some energy, continue to pile on, they're feeding off of you. I'm telling you, these young Royals, they love this passionate crowd. I've heard them more than one occasion talk about, can't wait to get home, love to hear the calls, love to hear the people. This is going to be a great run to the end.
Belted to center field deep. Lorenzo Cain, though, can't hold on to the baseball.
rare mistake by a guy who's been playing Gold Glove center field the last couple of months. That will be a base hit for Johnny Gomes.
Are you kidding me? He missed that. I'm through with it. Now my tongue is firmly in my cheek. This guy, he's made play, never missed all year on plays like this. Now can you blame him for that? No. That's a tough chance, but he's made him look easy all the time he makes them. He's never missed. That ball just got over his glove. He didn't miss it.
We just come to expect it because the Royals are just playing such great defense. They have made only 7 errors in their last 27 games. The Red Sox have made 3 tonight. Drew singled his last time up. There's that cut fastball that breaks down and in. Barely outside at 97 miles an hour. Just in case. Base hit left field. Gomes is going to be sent home. Alex will bring the throw to second base. It's a 5-1 game. So how important were those 2 home runs by Butler and Maxwell? Well, the tying run would be coming to the plate right here in Mike Napoli, who has belted 14 home runs this year.
The Boston offense, they're just happy to get Bruce Chen out of there. Give him somebody who throws a little bit harder, or throws a lot harder. Didn't exactly square that ball up either. Just got it out there enough.
Napoli would have represented the tying run had it been 3-0, but Butler and Maxwell with home runs in the 8th inning. Napoli is singled, struck out, and popped up. Moustakas, 1 and done. Luke Hochevar with his second save of the year. Home runs by Maxwell and Butler gave the Royals that final score of 5-1. But the real star of this night, Rex, was Bruce Chen. The veteran lefty from Panama was driving the Royals bus.
All right, I'm going to give it to Bruce then. Go ahead. Let's give it to Bruce. We'll let him drive another night, because when you have the pitching ability, the artistic ability of Bruce Chen to be able to mix and match and change speeds and really put guys throw them into a fit, it's a beautiful thing.
Kansas City has won 14 of their last 16 games. They have won 16 of 20 since the All-Star break. As promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. First pitch fastball to Billy Butler, and he hit it a ton.
That's right. 10th home run on the year. Billy said, you know what, I think that's got a chance. You can tell by the way he just kind of broke into his trot. Ellsbury, nice try. He's showing dice and dice. That's all you got to do, man. Just be ready for it.
And Mike Moustakas, who's hitting well over 300 since the All-Star break, gave the Royals their start in that first inning with a 2-run single, and he's with Joel Goldberg.
Fizz, thank you very much. Yes, it was a big first inning. Moose gets it done in the first. Bruce gets it done the rest of the way, and Well, Moose, let's talk about Bruce, because he was absolutely dominant, as he has really been in each of his 5 starts now. Tell me about this veteran.
Yeah, he's been amazing for us all year, coming out of the pen and then getting into the rotation, doing what he's been doing. You know, he's been lights out for us, and you know, he threw a heck of a ball game tonight, and we're gonna hope it continues.
Seemed like no matter what he threw, that ball was going to get popped up. I mean, no matter where you looked, whether it was to you, the infield, or shallow in the outfield, he was getting those guys reaching.
Yeah, you know, that's a great team over there, and Bruce was able to hold them, and you know, he makes his pitches well, was able to command well, so it was a nice night for him.
All right, for you, delivering with the big hit against the lefty in the first inning there, this is one of the better pitchers in the game when he's on. How important was that first inning to run that pitch count up and get those runs?
Oh, it's huge. Against a guy like that, I mean, you want to get him out of the game as soon as possible. He's a great pitcher, and you know, his track record speaks for itself. But you know, we wanted to get to him early and get him out of there, and our offense was able to do that, and Bruce took care of the rest.
Still, I know a lot of work to be done in one game at a time, but how much fun are you having?
Oh, we're having a blast in this dugout. It's a lot of fun right now.
Great job tonight.
Thank you guys.
Mike Moustakas with the big hit in the first inning, and they are chanting Moose and a lot of Bruce. What a night at the K.
Moose and Bruce, and it's hard to lose, and our Subway box score shows that, as Kane with a hit, Butler with that solo home run, Maxwell also went deep, and 2 more hits for Mike Moustakas.
Yeah, it's great to see Moose on the loose. He's starting to come back now. His swing is really good. He's recognizing mistakes, and he's making them pay. Now, Hosmer 0 for 4. He had a big at-bat, that first at-bat, as he moved Lorenzo Cain over off the leadoff double, man, and taxed a lot of pitches. They did a great job offensively against Lester.
Our forward player of the game, obviously, is Bruce Chen. He is now 5-0 with a 1.79 ERA overall, but Rex is a starting pitcher, a 1.14 ERA, 4 earned runs in 31 2/3 innings.
You know, it's incredible. When you talk about a guy that's a senior citizen in baseball that can deal like this with some of
He's going to love that comment.
The best offense. He is. When it comes to baseball, he'll tell you he's a senior citizen. But he don't pitch like it. He's an artist. Picasso, the great painter, would be thrilled to have Bruce in his studio.
We'll come back and close it out as the Royals knock off the Red Sox in Game 1 of this series.